I was in my Atlas. I was in Tikhonov City in my Lance, making a push towards the capital, and it was pouring rain. I mean, it was coming down in sheets, but I still was moving at top speed through the streets, when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see a Chesterton Reserve's UrbanMech coming straight at me, riding its jump jets and lighting me up with everything it had. It was so close I didn't have time to react. It slammed right into the front glass of my mech, totally obscuring my view. That's when I was really glad that I had tri-line wiper blades. Their multi-blade design removed that grimy smudge just as fast as they cleared the driving rain. Tri-line wiper blades. See your way clear.
No Guts, No Galaxy is recorded in front of a live studio audience. This is an adult podcast containing adult language. Consider yourself warned.
Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast 132. My name is Phil, and I'm your host. Today is April 8th, 2015, and I'm joined by Daeron and today's co-host, Brennan Tyler. What's going on, Daeron? How are you?
I am doing well. I've got my big old mug of coffee, and I'm ready to talk.
All right, dude. I don't have any coffee. I've got water. Yeah, it's sad day. Sad panda.
I've got water, too.
All right, what's going on, Brennan? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
How's work?
Busy. Very busy.
Making that money.
Making lots of money, but...
Earn them C-bills.
Yeah.
Life.
Earn them that space money.
Life versus sinking, money, yeah. All right, speaking of which, Tyler, how you doing, man? How's civilian life treating you?
It's great. Going great.
We were just talking about it. If you don't know, he was up rather late last night trying to get 1,000 damage match with an UrbanMech.
Oh, is that what you were up for? Dude, I was streaming MWO. It was like 4:30 when I signed off, and you were still going. And I was like, all right, I'll just host him. I have no idea what he's doing up this late. So that's what you were doing?
Yeah, I was just crushing it in the UrbanMech, but not enough to get 1,000 damage. Or I would like to prefer to think that I was being too efficient with my kills and not spraying the damage enough to get 1,000.
I was gonna say, nice. UrbanMech, and that's actually one of the first discussion topics is yesterday's patch. And obviously, we haven't done a podcast, a real podcast, and it's been a few weeks. One of the things we don't want to just sort of beat the dead horse, right? Something new has to come out and stuff like that. So, anyway, speaking of which, UrbanMech just came out yesterday. Now, is it the hype that it deserved? Is it the mech that we all wanted, adored? So, first thoughts. Is the mech viable at all as a 30-ton light mech?
Well, I'm wondering what key did you guys all bind your Death Blossom to? Because I can't get it to work. It's
an inner power. It's like when you need it,
it's a mental thing.
Yeah, okay. That's what it is. It's like this inner thing that'll come out. But no, really, I mean, is it a 30-ton mech in the game? Is it a viable mech? Tyler, did you obviously you were playing it quite a bit yesterday?
The sad truth is, yes, it is a viable mech. Maybe not for competition, but for the opens, it is quite strong, actually. Well, one of the variants, as long as you don't use ballistic weapons, you have to only use the energy on it. But yeah, it's strong. It's possibly the best light popping mech in the game because of that high-mounted left arm with energy weapons and jump jets. The Raven 4X can do it, but all the other mechs do it with low-mounted weapons. It's better than any of the clan light mechs by quite a bit. It's a little bit more fragile, but you don't need to bring the XL engine. The standard engine's only a couple more tons. So, yeah, the UrbanMech is actually a good
So, I want to know what mech chassis was your preference and what was your loadout. Will you tell us?
Yeah, sure. The best UrbanMechs are I think it's the 60L. It's the one with the L at the end. It's one of the AC-20 Quirks, but don't put the AC-20 on it. The best weapons you can put on it are 4 medium pulse lasers, a large pulse laser and 3 medium lasers, or a large laser and 3 medium lasers. Those are the best builds. And you can get a lot of work done with them. I was throwing up 600, 700, 800, 900 damage games all last night.
Now, question with that. Do you find the 360 advantageous?
Actually, yes, far more than I thought it would. I thought it was just going to be kind of a gimmick at first, but it actually lets you basically engage and possibly more importantly shield from any direction that you're moving. So as long as you have a good grasp on where your legs are, it's actually way more advantageous than I thought it would be. And I would like to see another mech in the game with it now.
I'm gonna go against the grain. I actually didn't mind it in that mech, but I feel like it's a slippery slope. It's like adding a free KPH to mechs, like extra speed for no other reason, just because. I just feel like 360 we saw and we know how powerful it is. We've had it in other games as well. I don't like the precedent. I don't know. It's just me. But no, I was actually surprised. I hopped into it yesterday. I told people I'd run it at the end of the stream, and I played, and I found that, let's see, the R60. I ran an AC 2 and 1 and 3 mediums, or on the other one I did 2 large poles. But then I was looking at the R60L, and it's the best energy. 4 energy. It also has was it negative 15 heat gen and like plus 15 range or something to that effect. And so you don't take the AC-20. It's just you just can't do it realistically and be viable, because you're just gonna die if you're running a big ballistic weapon. One, you just don't have enough tonnage to really do supplemental weapons or ammo. And then another elephant in the room is the XL80 180. You have to take 3 heat sinks. It's just like the Locust. So if you do double heat sinks and you take a big ballistic, you don't have enough crit slots for Pharaoh as well. So again, you only have Indo. So I don't know. I was enjoying it. It was fun. I was going on my Irby kills. I would say probably one of the biggest things for me was just its size. Did you notice that? Just no one would see you, or you could run up and get away from stuff just because you're so small. I feel like that was actually pretty big for me surviving in it.
Yeah, that's another huge part. Is it's difficult for people to get a beat on you when you're just a tiny little thing popping. They got the scaling pretty much right on it, which is a relief to see. That happens every once in a while. But yes, absolutely. I was able to get so many shots off without return fire, and it's just how the UrbanMech works. It's great. It's like the feeling that of when the Blackjack first came out. It was a much smaller mech than anybody had seen for its weight class, and it was able to just trade kind of unopposed every once in a while because of the size. UrbanMech is even more so. I just basically even call the UrbanMech a smaller Blackjack. And one more thing about the builds: the 4 machine gun and 2 large laser R60 variant is actually good as well.
I'd imagine pretty fun. Yeah, Brandon, were you out there doing any 360 torso twisting?
I only was playing the stock Urban. I have a build plan for it, but I haven't actually put it into effect yet. So,
all right. So again, I actually liked it. There are a few things I need to get the basics done. Obviously, get the elites done. But I don't know. My frustration at the very beginning yesterday was the fact of everyone was running around in stock builds and like, oh, it's funny. But the reality of it is, like, that leaves whoever else was on your team to basically uber carry. And when you drop against, for instance, we dropped against a 9-man SGR group yesterday. A 9-man SGR group. And there we had people just, joking around and running around on these. What do you think the result's going to be, right? So that, I guess that was the most frustrating thing. It's like, yeah, it's funny or whatever. But when does that sort of go away and people actually take them serious, and what do they do with them? So it'll be interesting seeing if they are used a month from now, 2 months from now, and what makes them viable. Is the size, is the 360 torso twist, and then obviously quirks and survivability is its big thing. But anyway, so you guys like Daeron? Nay, are you a fan? No.
I'm not a good light pilot, so the gimmicky aspect, I don't like using that word. Whatever. The torso twisting's fun. The 360, it's a fun little mech, but I just am not good enough as a light pilot, I think, to make it feasible for my setups.
Another thing I'll point out, Tyler, I don't know if you noticed this, but peeking around and over corners and everything was actually really easy to do, especially with the left mounted energy or right mounted. It was just, you poked out a little bit, bloop, you fire, and you just, reverse. And a lot of people, I think, just took it for granted of, oh yeah, you don't have to kill them. They're not going to do a whole lot of damage. The next thing you know, you're throwing up 600-800 damage. I
want to see Irby events. I want to see, like Irby free-for-alls, and, I think there's a lot of fun things that can be done with it. But now that Tyler has spoken about its actual effectiveness, I'm more curious to see it be used.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be used in competition, really, because the Firestarter and Raven still are out there and have more significant quirks. But it is a viable mech, which is not what I was expecting. And I think the most important thing to take away, perhaps, is that it's better than any of the clan light mechs, considerably so. A little bit more fragile, but better than them.
They go about the same speed, though, 106.
Yeah, but the UrbanMech has a bunch of good things going for it that the clan's light mechs don't have. It's got, well, first of all, it's got pretty good positive quirks. It's got the high-mounted energy hardpoints. Its size is correct. That is one of the biggest things. They got the size right. The Adder and Kit Fox are humongous for their weight, so it's got a lot going for it. It's considerably better than the clan light mechs, which have low mounted hard points and some other drawbacks.
Is that a compliment to the UrbanMech or a plea for better clan light mechs?
I think both. I think both. I mean, he's right. I mean, to be able to, I think the size just comes from how easy or hard is it to hold your reticle onto an enemy target and keep it there and be able to pinpoint. I mean, obviously, the smaller the target is, the harder it's going to be, especially when it's moving at speed. I mean, and that is one of the biggest detractors of the Adder and Kit Fox. Mislinks doesn't suffer from that. Mislinks got scaled properly. Obviously, UrbanMech and stuff like that as well. But that is a big... And what do you have to do to make up for that? You have to either make it tank like a medium, if not more, especially a light, because it's not, you know. Anyways, yeah, I totally get you. We've we've talked about that one before. New map, Emerald Taiga. Is that Taiga?
Taiga, yeah, something like that.
Taiga, what? So has anybody had any drops? I haven't been able to drop on it yet, except for I know what it looks like.
Yeah, I've done a lot of exploring, haven't dropped on it in a CW match yet.
All right, so I don't think any of us have played on it, but what are you guys' opinions just of the aesthetics? Now, you can hop in your training grounds and run through this, by the way. I don't know if some of the viewers out there or listeners, you can actually do that. Training grounds, drop in any of the community warfare maps. So what do you guys thought? I guess maybe not gameplay, but do you have any maybe implications or ideas or theories, or do you like the aesthetics?
Well, I think one of the things that popped out right away was color, and there was a lot of people that enjoyed that, and there was a lot of references to Forest Colony and wish it looked like that, and so forth. So I think in the artistic palette, it went in the right direction. The design looks good to me as far as the layout and so forth, but yeah, until I play it and see how other people are playing it, I can't really make an educated response to that.
Now, it is a map that only has 2 entrances as well, 2 gates. That's, so anyways, I guess we'll have to, touch back on this. I was excited just because I was like, oh, it's colors. I remember when Forest Colony was bright before, all that. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to what happens to some of the older maps getting updated, and we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But let's go ahead.
Hold on, before we move on, Tyler, you've got a look at it. I'm assuming you've gotten into the testing grounds.
No, I haven't actually. Unfortunately, my time was taken up with UrbanMech yesterday. I'll be trying to get into it today, though.
All right. Well, maybe next podcast we can all discuss playing on it. But
from the videos NoGutsNoGalaxy's put out, from the overhead views, the flyovers, and then the weekend updates as well, the map looks beautiful. So I'm excited to drop in it.
Cool.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll touch on that next week. I think that's appropriate, or in 2 weeks or so. But let's go and talk about a new feature that I think is actually sort of I don't think enough sort of time was put on to how big and important this is, and it's the looking for group feature. Obviously, I sort of showcased this yesterday during the stream, but one of the things I think this does is it opens the door for just obviously people finding groups, no shit. I mean, but my point being is like how important that is. Like I just don't think it's been sort of lifted up there and shown how much of a community impact this can have.
Yeah, the feedback so far has been incredibly positive. People are super happy. I completely agree. This game is meant, of course you can play solo, but this, in my opinion, meant to be played as a team, not just in every way. In my opinion, playing with a group is better. And now that there's in-game voice, and I just think everything's going in the right direction for bringing people together, dropping together, more organized gameplay. I love it.
So I guess I do have one thing of feedback. I think it'd be really cool if we could name our groups. And the reason I say that is like, hey, new players, or something like that, or, looking for, whatever. Now, obviously, you have to be careful because it can be abused. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I think that would be really cool. And ultimately, one of the issues I see with the not even the looking for group is the chat system is this hindrance of you have to open up the chat, your social window, and then you have to close it to go back in the Mech Lab. I just feel like this is a huge thing sort of blocking ease of use and sort of functionality. I mean, do you guys agree? Is it as annoying to me as it everybody else?
Sure. I mean, I think that's an easy call. Would everybody prefer to be able to click in and out of it without having to, yes. Hopefully with the new UI, new Mech Lab, that's something that's addressed. I do want to touch on what you were saying as far as being able to name your groups. I think that's a great idea. I've seen other games use it, like World of Tanks or whatever, and it allowed people basically to recruit almost like, hey, this is my unit, we're recruiting, come play with us and see if you like us. It's a great way to do something like that. So I'm all for that as well.
Seeing something like this, I just feel that almost having not a lobby per se, but almost, like in other games, Eve or anything where it has like a general chat where everybody's in or something like that. I just feel like that would sort of bridge the gap too. Again, just another set of tools. But the biggest thing right now is having to open up that window and then you can't do anything in the Mech Lab or you can't do this. It's just, I feel like that definitely needs to be fixed. Hopefully UI 2.15, whatever it is, that'll solve whatever it is, whatever the number is going to be.
2.876, yeah.
I think I'm going to start potentially using the looking for group. Obviously, it's one of those things where, someone's looking for group, you just want to pick them up. You don't know. I guess another issue is like maybe you don't know their skill level. And the only reason I bring that up is like if you took someone like Tyler who's running a group and he's just randomly inviting people, next thing you know they're going up against top tier players and maybe they just started the game and it's like I guess that would be it is what it is, I guess, but
the lobby needs to be, what is it, Brandon? The bar in Solaris, is it Valhalla?
There's a couple bars on Solaris.
Well, the one where the winners get their own tables and shit.
Yeah, it's Valhalla.
Yeah.
So that's what the name of the lobby should be. You can all hang out in Valhalla.
All right, so we were just talking about community warfare maps in testing grounds. How do you, Tyler, I know we've talked about this before. How much of a desire is it to have the community warfare maps in private matches? Is that something people want? I'm assuming, right?
And say huge.
Yeah, it'd be great to have them in private matches. Absolutely been asking for that since the beginning, just for mostly competition purposes. But that'd be great. No downsides.
Working out tactics.
Yeah, working on tactics and hopefully like options to add more or less turrets and add more or less health to the generators and stuff like that. That would be great.
All right, Russ, if you're listening, make it so.
Add NPCs.
Do it now. All right, now on to obviously what I think is the third most important. So Irby looking for group and then the Quirk updates. Now, I actually wasn't surprised. I think a lot of people reacted sort of like how I thought it, would be. Obviously, I know a lot of what's coming down the pipeline. I talk to Mike on a daily basis about that, get feedback. But you saw a little bit, the last pass you saw with the clan mechs, and then what you just saw right now, updated a few of those, stuff like adder, heat gen instead of the cooldown, stuff like that. But overall thoughts out there, I read were pretty positive. Everyone liked them. I saw a few people complaining about the set of 8 really wasn't a big enough incentive to take. Even though I might agree with the statement that the percent values were small, I also want to point out that as an experienced player, the whole fun of the Omnimechs is moving around the Omnipods. Those set of 8 quirks really aren't going to apply to you. They're going to apply to a new person or a person who's taken a stock mech who is going to be new. So just think about that too. It doesn't always have to revolve around you, the experienced player or min-maxer. It may just be a system that's in place to help someone who is new to the game. So just think about that too in that context. But anyways, I want to get your guys' opinions on the quirk changes. Approve, disapprove, like, nitpick, what?
I personally don't have any, personal feelings about any of the specific quirks. What I'm kind of going by is just I've been reading Reddit and the forums and seeing what people feel about them. And with every quirk pass, of course, you got people that get ticked off because whatever their favorite mech, their favorite loadout is affected in a way that they don't like. But I think you're right in that in general, the feedback for this update has been pretty positive. So I think that's good. Moving in the right direction. I'd rather have small numbers than big numbers. Go ahead. Sorry, Brendan.
Well, yeah, definitely increasing by small numbers is really good. I think overall the changes were good. I just want to say, though, finally a reason to change out leg omnipods is thank God that finally came around.
Yeah, and I think it's easy when you see it up on that sort of spreadsheet of the differences of being able to, okay, if I take this leg, I don't have this much structure because it gets the bonus XL or DXL. But if I take this torso and it has this, so you notice all the different min-maxing capabilities, and that was one of the things that I thought was pretty key is, looking at the mechs, the clan mechs, you can tell what people are going to do with them if you do this, because once you apply a quirk, it applies to the entire mech, as far as like a weapon quirk or something like that. Did you guys not agree with anything, or did you really like something, Tyler? I mean, I'm assuming you've looked at them all, haven't you?
Yeah, I've looked at them, and nothing comes out and strikes me as being overly powered, which is good. It looks like a pretty balanced pass.
So, speaking of which, quirks, what are some things that you want to... I mean, would you change anything? Obviously, right now, with the Stormcrow, Timberwolf, and Direwolf being the dominant, and the Hellbringer, let's just be honest, what would you do? Would you nerf some of them? Would you change them up? I mean, for ultimate balance?
No, I don't know. I'm not too keen on the over nerfing of things. I understand that, yes, of course, these mechs are outperforming all the other mechs in their weight class in the game. But I don't know. I like there to be power in these mechs, but I've enjoyed mechs coming up to them so much, but I think we're going to get into that in a little bit. Mech's power level coming up. But yes, these mech's power level does need to come down. It's just wherever PGI wants to have the base balance of the game. We'll see.
As for nerfing and stuff like that, though, I've never been a fan of overly nerfing OP units, but rather bringing underperforming units up to the standards of the quote-unquote OP mechs, or in any game that I play. So that's why I'm kind of liking these quirks, especially where they're going in small amounts. You can start to see which direction things are going, and you don't have to worry about quirking things way too far to the point where they might actually break. Well, see, this is where I would counter everything, is because I agree there's different ways, to skin this, the problem, if you will, but isn't everything time to kill? I mean, raising everything, yeah, okay, so they'll be performing as well as a Timberwolf, but the Timberwolf and Stormcrow, they're the reasons why time to kill is low, or one of the reasons, but also how quick they move, how agile. To me, it just seems like it's adding to the fact of time to kill is still going to be uber low. We also have mechs are just moving at ridiculous speeds. I'm not just saying actual physically their speed. I'm saying their movement, torso twist, excel, all this, blah, 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 across the board. If you just make them equally to the Timberwolf or Stormcrow, you're not adding to you're just making everything else just as ridiculous, Is that a problem with those particular mechs, or rather the mechanic that's used to determine that sort of stuff is the question?
I agree. That's what I'm saying is, like, at the heart, when you have mechs that, I think I was talking about this last time, when you have a 75-ton Timberwolf and a 75-ton Orion with the current system underneath, which is those base values, the Timberwolf is getting everything, and you just can't do it. So I mean, that to me, it's like, yes, I agree, Tyler, where bring them up. You don't want to just nerf the Timberwolf or Stormcrow or whatever, right? Because then are you fixing the problem, or are you just doing a band-aid, right? I mean, that's really the thinking there.
Every time we bring up time to kill and the speed of the game is kind of where I depart from a lot of people, and I don't think that speed is a bad thing. I am totally fine with the mechs moving at the speeds that they are, the Timberwolf, Stormcrow, all that. I like the faster pace of the game. I like the maneuverability. If your mechs are slower, that means they spend more time in the open, which means people are more likely to just sit behind hills and hill hump rather than actually get out there and take the open field. I'm totally fine with that, nor do I think time to kill is too low. It's making mistakes. You should pay for them. And you can make mistakes, multiple mistakes during a match, and still come out of it okay. That's one of the things I like about MechWarrior, is that you can give up some of your armor to make a mistake or to do some scouting. So I have no problem with the time to kill in the game as it stands, even right now with all the mechs being super quirked. It's just you gotta play smart. You are a huge mech with tons of armor, literally tons of armor, but you also are going to take damage from the other mechs that are out there, especially when you expose yourself to multiple at a time. So I have no problem with the state of the game actually as it is right now.
Well, speaking of time to kill, that segues us into the next topic, which is G-Man recently posted an article on MetaMechs titled "Every Mech Should Be Like the UrbanMech," and he was talking about his experience taking out the UrbanMech, which was, he said, my first game in it, I used the standard 60 engine. It was horrible, slow, sluggish, weak, squishy, a total joke, and I want every mech to copy it. It feels larger, more imposing, and just more titanic than any other mech I've played, even the Direwolf. Your torso doesn't twist fast enough to keep up with your mouse, and even your arms take a while to react. You feel like you're in a massive war machine stomping through the waste, and there's more. He talks about how, obviously, this is going to be controversial, and maybe, you know, people like yourself, Jaeger, and I kind of think this is probably true, in the competitive scene would mostly be against this. But I think it's an interesting topic. It touches on something that Phil brings up a lot, which is time to kill, which I think you guys are both have differing opinions, but also just the whole idea of essentially giant stompy robots. And I don't know. I think it's an interesting topic. In some cases, I agree with them. In some, I feel like it might not work. It seems like most games these days cater towards a little bit more towards a twitchy audience and faster speeds. For example, Phil, like we've been playing World of Warships, obviously sped up significantly. Most of the games we play are sped up, even the infantry games. You know, for the most part, people run faster than humans would be able to, and for longer.
Well,
so what do you guys think?
Here's my counter to all that, and like I get where you're coming from, Tyler. Like like I said, I conceded that one time. You said, when you break it down to 1 or 2 mechs or 3, 4 mechs is time to kill too low. Maybe not, but the reality of it is the game isn't about 4 mechs. It's about 24 mechs and 12 on each time. And my issue is again the treatment of one mech that's clearly not equal because of the system behind the scenes to another, and because it's base technology, clan tech and stuff. I mean, really, that's what we're talking about, is balance in general. My main thing with that is that there's nothing wrong with saying physically we want to set a standard. That means that this mech will move X acceleration and have Y deceleration, have this torso twist, and have this reverse, and this, and blah, 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 and then use those to help balance the mechs and slow the game down. In time to kill, I would disagree. I'm not happy with time to kill. And this is why I don't agree, is because you as a comp player will adjust no matter what. And as you move up in this game, time to kill does decrease. As your skill goes up, time to kill does decrease. But there's a few reasons for that. It's because the current state of how we min-max the mechs. We can get around, ghost heat with, how we set up our mechs. We can get uber high heat capacity on our Timberwolves and Stormcrows. Why? Because the base technology there, plus heat cap for double heat sinks, plus because I have a large engine, plus it just goes on and on and on. So I guess what I'm saying is, we're always talking about balance, right? Balance weapons, balance between mechs, but we can't really talk about balance yet because the base system, that foundation, is flawed right now. And it is, basically, has nothing to do with the skill tree, but it's the variables the skill tree affects. It's that acceleration boost. A Timberwolf getting 45% acceleration compared to an Orion that gets 45% acceleration is not equal. Because the Orion cannot take an XL 395 or whatever it is on the Timberwolf, and ever. And so automatically the Timberwolf's getting bonus. Not only that, the Timberwolf has an XL engine that is half the tonnage and better. And then on top of that, Indo and Pharaoh of the Timberwolf, that's only 14 critical slots compared to the 28 it would take on the Orion. I guess that's what I'm saying, is you cannot balance weapons across the board. You can't balance mechs until that foundation is fixed. And so I guess that's my counter to, is time to kill too low? I do. I think it is. I think it's been way too low, and I think it needs to be, the bar be raised. But that doesn't mean you can't, be punished, I guess, for making stupid behaviors. Like that doesn't mean that at all. So it's not like you're giving this, freebie to, you know, stupid mistakes or whatever. Like, oh, well, you know, you run out of open, you're not going to get wrecked. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the fact of right now, the game, every mechs, the Jenners, the fire starters, everything revolves around that base system, basically making them better than anything below them because of that foundation.
Yeah, I won't disagree that these mechs are not in line and that they do have inherent advantages, just they always have. And I'm fine with them being brought down. That's okay. But I'm still fine with this current speed of the game. And yes, time to kill at some levels is probably too low. But it would be nice to incentivize or to, I don't know, through tutorials or something, teach people how exactly to defend themselves as well. Because you said that as skill level goes up, time to kill goes down. Time to kill your opponents goes down, and your time to kill actually will go up because you know how to defend yourself, how to move from cover to cover, exactly, where the enemy's going to be coming from. You learn to compensate for the enemy's cooldown timer so you can shield right before their cooldowns are up. So you get tougher to kill as your skill goes up, and you get better at killing people as your skill gets up. So I would like more people to understand that defense in MechWarrior Online is almost or as important as offense.
I agree.
I think there's skills that can be learned that can help. But if this is the design direction that PGI wants to take, that'll be fine too. You were correct when you say that competitive players will adapt no matter what. But I'll just keep saying that the lethality is not a problem for me specifically.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is obviously this is our opinion, this is my opinion, that's your opinion. And it's one of those things where I just look at it from everything you just said. Wouldn't it really change if that baseline, you know, foundation got fixed and every mech was treated in a unique space too? And we're also always talking about like weapon quirks and look at this latest quirk pass where some of the clan mechs got substantial structure and even armor buffs, and people just quaffed at them like it was nothing because, you know, they're so used to just weapons, and they don't realize like some of those quirks are actually pretty damn important. But you know, time to kill obviously has to be attacked from a few different angles. Has to be attacked from that foundation, those variables, has to be attacked from weapons, balance themselves, and then obviously individual mechs, you know, whether it's weapon quirks, structure, armor, movement. And to me, I actually like the fact of the clan, for the most part, clan mechs are getting more mobility, structure, and armor buffs, and a little percentage, you know, weapon values. And I think that's a good way to approach. Now, could you do that with the IS mechs? I would have to say yes, but you'd have to give the IS mechs significantly more structure and armor bonuses, and I mean to offset the difference. I mean, because let's be real here, but I just feel like that foundation has to be fixed, and then it has to be set on a per mech, you know, basis.
I think we're kind of touching on different threads here, two different topics sort of. I mean, definitely balance and maneuverability in the quirks will matter and have an effect on time to kill. But what do you guys think of kind of the abstract idea of just slowing mechs down and feeling, you know, somewhat, I guess it would be more heading towards simulator, less towards arcade or whatever, if you're looking at other games and how they perform. Is that something that you guys would be positive about, or would you not like to see it slowed down?
I guess the question would be, can we sort of rephrase that? Do you feel like you're a 100-ton or a 75-ton war machine?
World of Warships, do you feel like you're a
fuck yeah, you do.
60,000-ton? But even though you feel, you know, it's sped up, right?
I understand the speed of it and stuff, yes. Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that is one of the things that, you know, caters to fast movement play. I mean, sort of what you're talking about, Tyler, is sort of that Twitch sort of COD sort of, you know, every action, every reflex has to be, you know, spot on, sort of, you know, things are going on. But for the most part, I want the game to slow down. I don't feel, but I think there's a few things here. I think that's the actual mech statistics, right, behind the scenes, numbers pointed to it. But I also feel like there's other things, sounds, right? That the audio of the game is really important. The visual fidelity? Do you feel, does it sound like you're, moving slower or faster or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like those things are really important as well.
I have no problem with how fast the mechs move, as far as speed, and stuff like that. My biggest problem is, like, when I'm in an Atlas or something like that, is still with your torso twisting and stuff like that. I feel like it should take longer, but because it's tied into the engine still, I feel like that's the biggest hindrance for me, or at least personally. I have no problem with mechs going faster and stuff like that, because that was in the lore. Some mechs were customized to go faster or whatnot, but for me, the biggest thing that makes a 100-ton mech feel like a 100-ton tank type of thing is how fast it can rotate and stuff like that. But when you put the biggest engine in it and stuff like that, it just doesn't, because it's correlated, it just doesn't feel proper.
Isn't that one of the issues that we've talked about in the past, which is, for the most part, lights, you always take the Max XL, right? That's pretty much the go-to. There's a few exceptions, and then what happens, that now 35-tonner Firestarter with Max now is more agile than a 20-ton Locust, because the Locust can only take a 190. So again, yeah, I totally agree. I feel like, again, that's sort of what I'm talking about, slowing everything down, is that, and it's different aspects. It's not just the mech speed, it's torso twist speed, yaw speed, pitch, XL, DXL, reverse, right? Speed tweak, stuff like that. The Timberwolf gets an extra 3 kph on top of it. Out of all the things that are imbalanced as far as the clan versus IS, and then on top of that, all these mechs are getting extra kph. And here's the thing is, that 10% KP or boost or whatever is different depending on the engine you have and some of the light mechs, i.e. that's why, if you're slow, you're usually dead in a light mech. But yeah, I guess that's the question. I mean, do you guys feel like you're a war machine, or do you just more feel like you're some just, little mech running around and like...
I feel like it's a war machine, but I feel like it could use some fine tuning. Like, I feel in all the ways that you said, maybe scale, audio, some further tweaking and fine tuning the torso twisting and all the maneuverability aspects. I feel like it could be made to feel more like a big lumbering war machine. I would like to see it move to being a little bit slower, not necessarily significantly, because I understand that I think sometimes my preferences are not the most popular, and I feel like right now people are really into fast moving stuff as far as games go. So minor tweaks.
I'm not big on the big stumpy robot kind of deal. I don't want the game to be moving so slow that you feel like G-Man's description of the standard 60 UrbanMech. But I think, yes, for scale, that would be nice. Every once in a while, I'm reminded by it when when you hit override or something and your pilot hits a button in his cockpit to override. I think more interaction between pilot and mech would help with the scaling as well. And some kind of way to look at your mech outside of combat as your pilot would be great, like in Sarsis and like the hangar mode. Like, people have been asking for that forever. So I think that would help a lot for the sense of scale, for you to actually look up at your Atlas and just see the scale, see that you're only up to its ankle in height. Things like that would be nice, but I'm not down to make the game slow by any means. And it's not like I wanted the game to be like Call of Duty or anything. I've never played Call of Duty, or I've not competitively played Call of Duty, so I don't have any preference towards that or anything. But I like the speed of the mechs. It seems like these mechs, it's a realistic thing. These are giant space robots. They could be moving this fast. And I don't know. When you think of you engaging that other pilot and the other Timberwolf across 800 meters, it feels good. The game feels good to me right now, and I don't want too much to change.
Well, what I said is, like, I'm not talking about slow like what G-Man was talking about. And again, you have to break it down is, should a Timberwolf have everything? Should it have speed, armor, firepower, blah, blah, blah. How you balance each mech has to be in those things. You have to balance, okay, well, it's a little bit too good, but we really don't want to screw with the weapons, so we're going to, reduce its torso yaw by 3% here or whatever. That's what I'm getting at, is you have to balance based on those variables. But before you can even do that, you have to fix the base system. You have to fix the foundation. You have to fix it so that each mech is being hit like at their base values before you basic them, before you elite them. And so I guess that's what I'm getting at, is I'm not saying you just make everything stupid slow, like, no, I don't want that either. And then it shouldn't be that just 3 or 4 mechs are the top dogs. And that's what's happening. It's because this whole entire foundation caters towards those mechs. I mean, it just sort of exacerbates the issue. And it just so happens that most of those are clan mechs, except for, the lights, right? So, time to kill, I know it's always a big topic, and there's so many different, opinions out there. I think time to kill is too low. You think time to kill is just right. Other people say, clans are OP. Other people say IS is OP. So there's so many different opinions out there.
You know what else is a big really topic?
What's that?
Map design.
Speaking of which, nice segue there, old man. We had a map design discussion going on by Thad Jantzi, I think is how we pronounce his name. Yeah, and he took the time. Apparently, it had to do with his hockey team losing or something like that. I don't know, something like that. Someone losing, sports team, and he made a thorough post, and he basically answered a lot of questions, or sort of like not even questions. It was like assumptions, or like pointing the finger,
making statements. I love that kind of stuff, man. Armchair developers. But anyway, yeah, let's get into this because there's some interesting revelations, I think.
I'll go ahead and link it there for the people. If you haven't read it, make sure to do so. But it's basically, stuff like, do you design the maps to funnel people? Is there that, those 3 lanes, and why don't you make maps bigger? And some of them were like, oh, you're just taking a pre-built map and just sort of putting your own things on it. And it's sort of funny because reading through, he's like, some of these, he's like, I have no idea what the heck you're talking about. And some of them, he's like, look, some of the older maps, River City, Forest Colony, they are too small. He said, at the time, those were in development before we even had mechs really on play on them. And basically he said, at the time, they were thinking, oh, these maps are huge. But then, 8v8 comes out, 12v12, and they're uber small. And he said that's why you've seen that sort of Caustic Valley Tourmaline size is sort of where he wants the maps to go. But he did say if he had, direction from above to make bigger maps, he would. He basically said that wasn't an issue.
Yeah, the take home from this is, number one, there's no limitations being imposed on him from the CryEngine or anything else other than what they want to accomplish. He works with Russ and he works with Paul. They decide what to do and he does it. But he's not limited to map size by CryEngine. It's design. Everything that they're designing, which they're saying, again, the sweet spot is somewhere between what was it?
Caustic and
Tourmaline. Where are they getting that stat from? The players. So yes, there's tons of people out there that want to see huge maps like Living Legends, and he even brought that up. Understandably, there's people that love that kind of stuff, but it's just like what we were just talking about with slowing down mechs. There's people on both sides, and there's the consensus essentially in the middle, and the consensus currently is Caustic to Tourmaline is the ideal size. I am one of those people that would love to see huge maps. Travel time does not bug me in the least. I play War Thunder Plains. I play the realistic. Takes 5 to 10 minutes before you get to the target and you engage. I don't care. That I love that. But that's a personal thing. There's some people that can dig that. I remember Living Legends and some of those maps. It would take however many minutes even to get where you think the enemy is, and then if you're wrong, it's another 5 minutes to get to the other side of the map or whatever. There's good and bad in that.
And he brought up some of the design. I mean, it just from the being able to, he's talking about Living Legends and just big maps. He said we could make a uber simple big map and it wouldn't take very long, but gameplay may not be that very good. And then he said we could dump a lot of time in art assets and make the same map, but it runs like crap because we dump. So to me, my biggest thing is when you look at the maps there's line of sight issues on some of the maps. River City is a big one. I love Forest Colony. I love the pathing on it, right? I don't get stuck on stuff. The only thing on that one, I've said this before, is the ship out in the containers. There should be either no collisions, or if I run into them, physics, and I kick them out of the way. It's so frustrating having those things. Look at Bog. Bog I hate that map, but a part of me, the things I hate is that there's just limited pathing and every little thing hooks you up and stuff like that. But he also said, it's there's reasons for some of that, and he went into detail and stuff like that. My biggest thing is, I think this was the last time we had the podcast, which is I want the polish, and it's frustrating, and I have to tell myself to be patient, because I know, just like how we tell you guys, they're working on community warfare maps right now. So for us, that play group or solo all the time, we have to be patient to wait for the older maps to be updated, which will happen. We'll see hopefully a bigger forest colony or a bigger river city. But actually, I don't mind some maps being smaller. I actually don't mind. I feel like not all maps should be the same. It's just one cookie cutter thing, right? But, because gameplay on Forest Colony, is a lot different than gameplay on Tourmaline. I actually don't mind that. There are some things that need touched up, of course.
Yeah, I think everything's going to be polished, and all the things we want are going to be addressed eventually. The thing that he also points out, though, is that they're a company and they have basically a way of a process of doing things, and they're limited to the number of people that are working on things, and things are decided at the upper level, and not always the people that are doing the artwork or the whatever get to make the choices. They're doing what they're told. It's just common sense type stuff. And I think a lot of people, what I got a lot from this is that people make some wild assumptions as if they absolutely know what's going on. And it's nice sometimes for somebody like that to come out and say, well, this is the reality. And makes it a little bit more understandable. I would love to see maps, way bigger than Alpine, but not always going to get what I want.
I like to see more stuff like this as possible. Different parts, like not just the map design, but like the modeling,
the way
stuff like
things
that.
work.
Yeah, just the way things work, just so people get an idea of what actually goes on behind the scenes.
Get some reality sprinkled onto our fantasy.
I'd like to, on the subject of what Daeron brought up, he doesn't mind travel time. I don't mind the travel time either. And I would like to see even some Living Legends sized maps, or a different game mode that just takes huge maps into account, so that maneuvering and such plays an even larger role. So right now in 12v12, the maps that we have, the maneuvering's not really that important if you've got adequate scouting. Yeah, I would just like to see bigger maps even. So
the scouting role would play such a huge part. Like that to me, just make two, eventually 2 or 3 just huge maps, MWLL style, and
make a different game mode.
Yeah, and just scouting would be so awesome then. Like it would be a total fleshed out role.
Well, we do have to talk about some of the big maps we have right now. Tourmaline, it's big per se, but
quote unquote big.
Yeah, and Alpine. But I guess what I'm saying is the Death Ball. But the Death Ball and maps, let's be honest here, the map and the gameplay that happens is also based on the current balance of the mechs as well. Because if time to kill is low, which it is right now, compared to what it's been in the past, there's no point in spreading out when it's just one game mode. And in reality, yes, you can be capped. It does happen every once in a while. But for the most part, it is deathmatch on all of the match. It's destroy the enemy mechs. There's really no point in cap. Or if you do cap, you hit 2 of them and you don't really worry about the others until later on to where But I guess that's the thing is, like, just because you throw in a big map doesn't necessarily mean the majority of that map is used. It's just one of those things where balance of the game also comes into play of how the gameplay is affected on the maps.
Wouldn't want it to just be skirmish. So it need to be game modes, objectives all over the map that incentivize breaking up the team. Or even, I would even be fine with just some AI commander basically telling my lance of just 4 mechs to go accomplish an objective. And if I don't head in that direction, everything else is out of bounds. And then you fight there, whoever wins picks up the scraps of their mechs and moves on to the next objective. I would even be fine with corridors like that, and then eventually you meet up and join for a big battle. Even with respawns, like community warfare style respawns. Just something to split it up, move the action around, use all the parts of the map. That would be great to me. And even add in other AI stuff, tanks, infantry, that would be what I want out of, like...
Amen, brother.
That's what I want for Community Warfare.
Yeah, now, Phil, what was the name of the Living Legends map that was like the moonscape with the asteroids hitting the ground, and it was huge, and...
I can't remember off the top of my head. It had a really cool dynamic system
because you did have to split up. You did have to move around and separate. You couldn't do the death ball, and I'm just trying to remember the game modes that made that possible.
No, the death ball was still a thing back then, but because of respawn, you'd have people at different points coming back to the battle and stuff like that. Yes. The thing with game modes is, again, it has to do something different. I mean, right now, capture the base, which is basically assault and conquest. Obviously, the maps right now don't cater towards that when the turrets are giving away position. That's actually hold up here, by the way. I know we've got Mike in there. We need to fix the ECM being seen through by turrets. It is so broken right now.
Fix the turrets, Mike, but don't segue too much off of our topic.
But I guess what I'm getting at is it needs to be something different, and it needs to incentivize breaking up. And it could be something like what you said, Tyler, or it could even be where you do want to send your lights and mediums off to go cap these little sub caps, but they're not just cap points. They add, mobile or artillery turrets or something that just sort of bombard areas or something. You get reinforcements or something. It has to be more than just cap the base and you win. Sort of thing. Or maybe it is, and that incentivize, smaller warfare. But again, sort of death ball syndrome. Even if it goes down to just smaller death ball, it's still death ball, and is that what you want? So lots of things. But anyways, it was a cool read to go through it. I definitely got a little bit better insight how the maps are made. But like I said, I'm ready for polish to happen to those maps, and it is frustrating as a player, but I also have to be patient, knowing that it will happen. It just isn't happening right now in this second when I want it, which is
And thank you, Thad, for taking the time to do that, and we hope to see other people that are in the creative process kind of do the same thing. It would be really cool, I think, to provide more insights for people.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the quick mentions. We've got the Major League MechWarrior MLMW. Starts April 20th. We've got over 20 units participating right now, and prize pool is almost to 4,000. And again, if you haven't checked out I do believe Homeless Bill is heading all that up. They do take donations if you want to help sort of get that prize package and pull up. And the cool thing is PGI is helping support that as well. And it's got different packages for even people that don't necessarily win as well. So you can check out all that info. And I actually think that's really important. And it's one of the things I told Bill. We had a conversation about it, which was, hey, prizes for, the runner-ups and the smaller peeps that maybe just want to get their feet wet, but they realize they're not going to win. It's cool if you help support them, and boom, he did it. So kudos.
And
Bill.
I think the winning team right now is on... They're going to win like $1,200, $1,300, something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Huge prize pool. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. There's also been some questions out there regarding the devlog. So we're just letting everybody know that there is a new devlog that's in the works. However, it is going to focus on the devs and their jobs, similar to what we were talking about with Thad. Kind of a peek behind the scenes at what devs are doing and their roles. The weekend update has basically become the news outlet and providing sneak peeks, so that won't be the vlog. And also town hall meetings are really where Russ will provide insights into the current and future game development. Again, not really a thing for the vlog. So that's where it stands right now. New vlog in the works. You guys should expect to see something on that soon.
And then speaking of the town hall, we are in obviously contact with Russ. He wants to lock it down relatively soon, but he is, they've got to knock out a few things behind the scenes before he'll lock down a town hall date. But
hopefully next week.
Yeah, if you haven't been to a town hall, it is a good way to get your answers done and answered and stuff like that. And obviously, if he has any big news, that's usually the time he drops it and stuff like that. But so definitely a good patch, I would say. Lots of stuff too. Another big one. We totally missed this.
Uh-oh.
The jump jet fix.
Oh yeah, jump
to the Timberwolf and Victor and stuff. Have you checked that out, Tyler?
I've not gotten in one and seen it for myself or done any experimentation with it, but fighting them yesterday, I did notice that they weren't nearly as warpy, which is great.
Oh my god, hold on 1 second. We've got to show you this. It's go check the patch overview. If someone wants it, it's like minute. So I don't know. It's in there, and yeah, it's substantial. No more Pop-Tart, Bunny Hop, and Timberwolf. Now, I just to confirm, they are going to be focusing on some of the other mechs as well. These were just sort of like the first 5, sort of like, I guess, the worst offenders, if you will. But yeah, I made sure to pass on all that information. So that happened. I totally forgot. What else in the patch? I feel like we're missing something. Anyways, it was a good patch. Lots of little things. And I think a lot of people were surprised to the amount of actual stuff that was in it. Yeah, so anyways, guys, just want to say thank you again for hanging out, our live audience. Sorry, Twitch. I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, hey.
It died.
Yeah, also let's see, what's happening with product right now?
Oh, are you talking about the Shadow Cat t-shirts? They're still up for pre-order? Yeah,
Shadow Cat t-shirts are up for pre-order for 2 more days. So Friday's the last day on that. So if you want to be guaranteed your color and size, you got to order that now. But also, we're working on our next product.
Ooh, do we want to drop it on them?
Yeah, let's drop it on them.
All right, well, pint glasses. We're doing beer or whatever you want to use them. Yeah, whatever. But we're doing pint glasses. So we're going to be putting those up relatively soon for you guys. And I also, Daeron, we've been getting harassed to do an UrbanMech shirt. So
yes, we will do one. We'll probably do the Urban Hookah, but we'll discuss it.
No, a lot of people didn't want the Urban Hookah.
A lot of people do.
I know, but we'll
discuss it. But anyway, that's on the horizon, as well as I've got a shot glass inside as well. So probably see a shot glass at some point within the next month or 2.
The Herbie.
The Herbie.
Anyways, guys, just want to say thank you to all of our staff and community members behind the scenes. A big thank you to our new listeners and, of course, our sponsors. Sponsors on our forum and sponsors on twitch.tv. I just want to say thank you for your support. Our next goal is 100 sponsors, or I should say subscribers on Twitch. Allows us for 2 more emoticons, and we had those winners. I think it was Keycat and Von Kickass. Yeah, Keycat and Von Kickass won. They added the NGNG mug and the NGNG, the boom with the Jaeger. So just shout out to those guys too. Yeah, I just want to say thank you and have a great week, guys. If I don't get to hang out with you, and of course, Tyler, don't stay up too late playing in that magical goal
of 1,500 damage.
Yeah, 15 or 15 or
how close did you
bust?
Get? 965.
Oh, you must have been so pissed.
All right, guys, this was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast. Signing off for tonight. This is Phil.
And this is Daeron.
This is Brandon, also known as Cattra Kell.
This is Tyler.
Until next time, Mech Warriors.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at NoGutsNoGalaxy TV, on Twitch at NGNG TV, on Facebook at NoGutsNoGalaxy Podcast, on Twitter at NoGutsNoGalaxy, on iTunes at NoGutsNoGalaxy, or via your favorite podcatcher with the RSS feed at feeds.feedburner.com/NGNG.
It'd be best if you avoid me, but I know you probably can't. You sense something is wrong with me. You can feel it on my skin, but there is more with it. Maybe I can be closer now, but I don't know how. Please help me remove my metal skin. My metal skin. My metal skin and the wires within. You probably thought it was normal, just a little off. The truth is, at one time I was, but now I'm a robot. Forever disconnected from you. Maybe I can be closer now, but I don't know how. Please help me remove my metal skin. My metal skin. My metal skin.
I was in my Atlas. I was in Tikhonov City in my Lance, making a push towards the capital, and it was pouring rain. I mean, it was coming down in sheets, but I still was moving at top speed through the streets, when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see a Chesterton Reserve's UrbanMech coming straight at me, riding its jump jets and lighting me up with everything it had. It was so close I didn't have time to react. It slammed right into the front glass of my mech, totally obscuring my view. That's when I was really glad that I had tri-line wiper blades. Their multi-blade design removed that grimy smudge just as fast as they cleared the driving rain. Tri-line wiper blades. See your way clear.
NoGutsNoGalaxy is recorded in front of a live studio audience. This is an adult podcast containing adult language. Consider yourself warned.
Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy Podcast 132. My name is Phil, and I'm your host. Today is April 8th, 2015, and I'm joined by Daeron and today's co-host, Brennan Tyler. What's going on, Daeron? How are you?
I am doing well. I've got my big old mug of coffee, and I'm ready to talk.
All right, dude. I don't have any coffee. I've got water. Yeah, it's sad day. Sad panda.
I've got water, too.
All right, what's going on, Brennan? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
How's work?
Busy. Very busy.
Making that money.
Making lots of money, but...
Earn them C-bills.
Yeah.
Life.
Earn them that space money.
Life versus sinking... Yeah. Money. Yeah. All right, speaking of which, Tyler, how you doing, man? How's civilian life treating you?
It's great. Going great.
We were just talking about it. If you don't know, he was up rather late last night trying to get 1,000 damage match with an UrbanMech.
Oh, is that what you were up for? Dude, I was streaming MWO. It was like 4:30 when I signed off, and you were still going. And I was like, all right, I'll just host him. I have no idea what he's doing up this late. So that's what you were doing?
Yeah, I was just crushing it in the UrbanMech, but not enough to get 1,000 damage. Or I would like to prefer to think that I was being too efficient with my kills and not spraying the damage enough to get 1,000.
I was gonna say, nice. UrbanMech, and that's actually one of the first discussion topics is yesterday's patch. And obviously, we haven't done a podcast, a real podcast, and it's been a few weeks. One of the things we don't want to just sort of beat the dead horse, right? Something new has to come out and stuff like that. So, anyway, speaking of which, UrbanMech just came out yesterday. Now, is it the hype that it deserved? Is it the mech that we all wanted, adored? So, first thoughts. Is the mech viable at all as a 30-ton light mech?
Well, I'm wondering what key did you guys all bind your Death Blossom to? Because I can't get it to work. It's
an inner power. It's like when you need it,
it's a mental thing.
Yeah, okay. That's what it is. It's like this inner thing that'll come out. But no, really, I mean, is it a 30-ton mech in the game? Is it a viable mech? Tyler, did you obviously you were playing it quite a bit yesterday?
The sad truth is, yes, it is a viable mech. Maybe not for competition, but for the opens, it is quite strong, actually. Well, one of the variants, as long as you don't use ballistic weapons, you have to only use the energy on it. But yeah, it's strong. It's possibly the best light popping mech in the game because of that high-mounted left arm with energy weapons and jump jets. The Raven 4X can do it, but all the other mechs do it with low-mounted weapons. It's better than any of the clan light mechs by quite a bit. It's a little bit more fragile, but you don't need to bring the XL engine. The standard engine's only a couple more tons. So, yeah, the UrbanMech is actually a good
So, I want to know what mech chassis was your preference and what was your loadout. Will you tell us?
Yeah, sure. The best UrbanMechs are I think it's the 60L. It's the one with the L at the end. It's one of the AC-20 Quirks, but don't put the AC-20 on it. The best weapons you can put on it are 4 medium pulse lasers, a large pulse laser, and 3 medium lasers, or a large laser.